All right. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining. This is exciting. We haven't done a webinar for a while, and we are going to start doing one every week now. So probably every Wednesday. Maybe we'll even switch it up just to accommodate. Probably change the time every once in a while. That's we're going to try to. We understand Frontly's user base is international, so probably split all across the world almost equally. And 9:30 a.m. PST may not work for everybody. So we appreciate you all being here. And so I'm Patrick. I'm the founder of Frontly, and this is Justin, who you've probably interacted with already. He is the master of support.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm looking forward to engaging with you all while Patrick is doing his little showcase of today's webinar, and want to welcome all the people who are attending to their first Frontly webinar, and for all the returning guests that we haven't seen in a while too. Excited to see what we have cooking up for today.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is a nice little turnout. So yeah, let's just get into it, I guess. Today we're talking about Frontly's new marketplace. So this marketplace is not accessible quite yet in the app, but we wanted to showcase it today, kind of get people excited, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be launching, hopefully today, we're going to be launching the ability for you to go and create listings for pages and actions that you've created, and then sort of prepare and submit them for our review. And then probably in the next couple days, hopefully by Friday, or maybe if not Friday, by Monday, we're planning on putting this marketplace live. So I'm just going to show it off a bit today. We can talk about some things, and maybe we can even build some stuff and add it to the marketplace. So let's see how it goes. Yeah, cool. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen again, do my window, and let's see. So can you see this? All
Yes, we
right.
can.
So here is what the new Frontly marketplace looks like. And keep in mind, right now, the only content in this marketplace is just created by me personally. So I've just created a few examples, and you can see here we have this cool sort of action visualization here for actions. And then if I scroll down, you can see we have this pages section. So just for anyone who's wondering, we were actually originally planning on starting the marketplace to distribute full apps, like data sources and all that kind of everything, collectively. But we realized that, one, that's way more complicated. We are still planning on doing that, but we realized that the sort of lower hanging fruit was actually just allowing you to add actions and specific pages to a marketplace, because most people aren't really looking to install an entire app. You may already have an app and you just want to add some cool new content to it, maybe some actions. The way we're imagining this working is you're going to browse the marketplace, get inspired, maybe add some of these items into your pages or apps, and then you're going to edit them and you're going to change them. You might even delete them after you understand how they work, and you can use them to just learn how to use Frontly. So this is something that we're super excited about, mostly for the sort of educational community kind of growth and sharing opportunities here. So if you're browsing the actions, you'll see every listing here has a name, a little description. It'll say who built it. So this will come from the builder profile that you can set up in your Frontly admin, which I'll go over. And then if you actually click on an action, you'll see a little bit more of a little more details here. You can see the names of the action steps. That's all you get here. And then whoever built this action has the opportunity to write a description here. So just explain a bit about what it is, or maybe how to set it up. One thing we are working on, which I'm hoping will be live by the time we actually launch the marketplace, is essentially what we're going to call a bit of a setup wizard, which means that if you install this action, for example, there's a data source request step, which means it's going to have to use one of your data sources, whether that's a Google Sheet or the Frontly database or Supabase or something like that, it's going to save some data into a data source. But whoever made this action obviously doesn't have your data source. They, this is more like a generic version. So we're going to create a system that will basically detect the important variables like that and will prompt you when you add an action from the marketplace to go and sort of map the data. So if there's a data source request here, it's going to say, hey, this action that you just installed has a data source. You need to select which one you want to use. And there'll be some other things too, like field names that need to match up and stuff like that. But one thing that's really cool is that all you have to do to add this to your account is just click that button. Now, I already added that one, so I'm going to go to one here. You can see there's a little star at the top of every action. If you want to save this action to your saved actions in your account, you just got to click that star. That's it. It gets added to your favorites, and then you can see if I go in here, now it says remove from favorites. So you can do it here as well. You can go add to favorites. It's the same function. So the star and this button basically do the same thing. And then if I go into a page, let me just create a brand new test page. You can see that if I create a button and then I go here, so I could create an action manually, or I can go browse saved actions. And it's going to pull up this nice little action browser, and I can search, but at the same time, I'm going to be able to see this is my actions that I've created, but it's also any actions that I've favorited in the marketplace. So just from hitting that little star, you now have access to add these actions. And so if I wanted to add the summarized web page, I can just click here. It's going to pop it right into my account. So that's how easy it is. And then, like I said, we're going to be working on a bit of a setup wizard so that you'd be prompted to come in here and say, okay, I want to select the relevant data source. And then you're kind of off to the races. So, you can kind of deconstruct what's going on here. You can look and see, okay, I see, this is how they set it up. And then obviously you can go and apply that to all the rest of your apps, because now you are armed with the knowledge of how to do something fancy. So we are really excited about this actions because it's a part of the app that until just recently, until a few days ago, we didn't actually allow you to save actions, and then kind of use them, paste them across your app. So that's already a bit of an innovation for us that we think, people are pretty excited about. But then if I go back to the marketplace, of course, we have the pages. And so this right now, this has just been populated with some generic stuff that we already kind of had available, but we're going to be very much trying to populate this with a lot of new content. And of course, the community will start to populate it, which is way more exciting than waiting for us to do it. So here's one that's actually new. The rest of these are all ones that we created in the past that you may have seen in the block selector, but here's one I just created yesterday. And it's really, really simple. It's not like it's not like this full-fledged page. It's just illustrating a very specific functionality combination that I want to showcase. So you can literally see the whole page right here. It's two buttons and then a piece of text. But if I click install, what's going to happen is it's going to say, are you sure you want to install this into your current app? Yes. And then it's going to warp me in there. I think I have to refresh the page. I'm probably going to fix that, but the content's here. So here we go. And the only difference is it's using my button's primary color, not the one that was shown in the image preview. So check this out. This is how it works. Let me see if Justin, you're going to have to maybe let me know if I do this preview, if it's actually going to show the screen. Can you still see this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So this is really simple. And this page illustrates the ability to either increment or, increase or decrease local state value. And technically, you're just increasing or decreasing the value in a variable, and then I'm setting it to the local state. And so, again, this is something that you'd be able to install into your app. It's just a new page, and then you can go and see what's going on here. If I click on this, you can see that this is a local state count variable that defaults to 0. And then you can see that if I go into the button click actions, there's an update local state action that uses this increment.1 functionality. And then I just do the same thing in this notification. So, really, really simple example, but just imagine the possibilities now where, anyone in the community theoretically can go create something interesting and just share it, and not just share it and explain how it works, but actually share it for real so that you can really understand, you can install it into your app. And of course, whoever creates it essentially just gets the glory of being someone who created something. And so, their name will be all over the marketplace. And we do have experts who work inside of Frontly that I'm pretty sure are, happy to take on paid contracts to help people build apps and stuff like that. So, there's a lot of people who I think will just want to share their knowledge, to begin with. So one thing that I haven't shown off yet is this builder profile. So it's really, really simple. And in fact, the way that it works is when you click on either the name or this builder profile button, all it does is it essentially takes you back to the marketplace, but it shows you this little builder profile card. And then all the content is filtered based on who created it. So right now, it's all me anyway. But once you're in the real marketplace and there's other people who've created content, you'll be able to filter for a specific person. And if you go back to the marketplace, you can either go view all actions or view all pages. And you can also search. So let's say I just want to type in image, and I'll get just the results that have the word image in it. So we think that, just this simple ability to add pages to the marketplace and add actions and install them into your apps, we think that people are going to, really, really be able to grow and learn much more quickly. And essentially, we're imagining, someone who comes into Frontly, they can start and they can just say, hey, I need, an analytics dashboard. They can just search analytics. They'll probably find a bunch of options and they'll be able to just install them and get started. And so, they can do that until they have all the different pieces of their app, spend a little time making them, cohesive and looking the same stylistically, and then you basically have a functional app. So um, with that said, maybe I'll stop sharing my screen. Now, my rapid fire uh, demoing here. I don't know. Do we have any questions or anything like that? All right, let's see here. So
So I'm in the
someone,
middle of responding to Thomas's question about custom blocks, but did you want to speak to Tituan's question about whether it's going to be a freemium model, or is there going to be, and I
right.
apologize, Tituan, logical economy
Yeah.
marketplace? Probably
No,
algorithmic.
it's a
Yeah.
good question. So we're actually still sort of debating internally how we're going to handle potentially allowing people to charge money for creating blocks. We or actions, or eventually pages. We we see benefits of both. Of course, we would love to have a model where builders can be motivated financially, and they can go, they know that if they go and spend a bunch of time building some really sophisticated stuff, that they could charge money for it, whether it's $10 or who knows. Like, with the price right now isn't that important. But one thing that we're considering is just sort of the pros and cons for the community. On one hand, we would definitely love to have the vast majority of the content in the marketplace be free and accessible to everybody as just a value add-on. What we sort of don't want, of course, the negative side of allowing people to build paid blocks, even though, of course, that's a pretty good motivator to maybe get some higher quality blocks in the marketplace. We also worry that it will quickly sort of spiral into something where nobody wants to create good stuff for free, and then Frontly we will probably feel obligated to go and build a bunch of good free content to sort of supplement that. And so it's a bit complicated. And I think right now, even though we are definitely still considering it, at least for the initial launch, it's just going to be everything's going to be free in the marketplace. So if you want to distribute something for your own, just to be a good person and just to engage with the community and all of that, then you're more than welcome to. And we're going to be going and we're going to be building stuff for the community as well. So, probably that's just going to be sort of a recurring job on our end now. It's just like seeding the marketplace with good content. Probably, like I might have mentioned before, like now that we're doing a weekly webinar, I could see, maybe we even just have like a fallback if we don't have anything better to do on our weekly webinar. We can just take some requests from the community, build an action and build a block or a page, and add it to the marketplace. And that's, every time we're just going to keep building value, and then people can also understand a bit more about how it was built. So anyway, that's, we're really excited about it. We don't, we think that it's feasible that we could eventually allow some paid content, but we probably want to make sure that it's pretty sophisticated stuff. Otherwise, Frontly, the whole thing is it's supposed to be really easy to build. So we understand there's definitely combinations of pages and actions and conditional logic that you could spend hours and hours and hours creating something. But we also just want to make sure that the motivations are pure and that we don't end up in a situation where the community isn't benefiting from the marketplace. So anyway, that's my extremely long-winded answer, but we think that best for the community right now is that it's free. We get everyone in there. We're going to test it out. We're going to make sure it works, make sure that everyone's able to install things correctly, and that it all works really smoothly. And then as we see it evolve, we'll be considering how to deal with those kinds of things. So are there any other anything else you wanted me to touch on, Justin, right now?
Jamie Fairclaw asks, could Frontly reward the creator of the most saved downloaded custom blocks?
Yeah, that's a good point. Because we are, I guess I didn't really mention that we are going to be creating essentially a ranking system based on the amount. I mean, I don't even know. I don't know if I want to reveal the algorithm, but no, it's really it's going to be a combination of the number of times that actions, or basically listings of any kind, have been favorited, and also how many times they've actually been installed into apps. So I think we will have the ranking information, and we will be using that to have basically the way I like to think about it is sort of like Reddit for Frontly content. We're going to allow people to favorite and use it, and we'll be tracking that, so we'll be able to surface the popular stuff at the top of the marketplace. And yeah, maybe that is a better maybe that's like a nice model, is potentially some kind of prize system or something like that for most installed app this month or week, or something like that. So that's a great idea. Thank you, Jamie. And yeah, anyway, so we'll see how that goes. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Oh yeah, I'll basically want to show you what it's like to actually add something to the marketplace, because that's, we just want people to understand that this is very much within your ability. Like if you're brand new to Frontly, probably your first thing is not to go try to build blocks or pages and distribute them in the marketplace. But we want people to understand that our goal is to have thousands of pages and thousands of different actions. We're going to add sort of a kind of like a categories and industry filters and stuff like that. So ideally you'll be able to sign up, or anytime go to the marketplace, filter by whatever you're interested in, and just find dozens of options within that. So with that in mind, I will share my screen one more time. And all right, so yeah, let's say, so I'm going to go to this page that I was working on over here. So this vertical tabs system. So this is something that is it this one? Yeah. So this is what I was working on, where you can have multiple tabs, and I was sort of imagining that you would do this, and then maybe on the right side you'd actually have an image or something that would change like per tab or something. So that's I didn't complete this, and if we have time I can even continue working on it while we're on this webinar. But let's say that I really like this page and I want to add it to the I want to add it to the marketplace. So all I have to do is, well, I'll leave without saving, I guess. So I'm going to go to my listings. So yeah, you guys won't see this yet. We'll make an announcement, and of course, you'll just, as soon as it appears in your app, you'll be able to see it, obviously. But there's going to be this new section here called Marketplace, and if you click on Marketplace, that's where you actually go browse. And if you click on My Listings, then you're going to be on this page, and you'll also have your builder profile as well. So it's really simple right now. We will be building this out more. We're just trying to keep things simple to start with. Don't want to overcomplicate it. Add your name, location, description. We'll probably have some other things, like maybe you can add a website link or a title or something. You can kind of promote your website, or if you're an agency and you are taking on work, we'll probably have the ability for like a contact this expert, contact this builder button. So that's another motivation as well, is really, if you are open to taking on work and contracts, potentially helping other Frontly users, if you're pretty experienced, then that will be a really good way for you to find work, is build build lots of useful things, get your name out there in front of, Frontly's thousands of users, and, they'll be seeing your name every day. So you'll be a little Frontly influencer. Um, so yeah, anyway, when you go into your listings page, these are all listings that I've already created. So I've added, quite a lot, all the ones that are in the marketplace. But all I have to do to add a listing is click create a new listing. And then I will have this pages drop down, and I'll also have this action. So, right now I'm picking between page and action. I have already added all these to the marketplace, but I'm going to go and I'm going to select my vertical tabs page, and I'm going to click create listing. So what that does, creates a listing, really, really simple. I'm going to call this vertical tabs. Um, um, I'm going to add a description that says, modern minimal vertical tab system, with conditional logic or something. And for now, I'll just leave that there. Um, don't have to bother adding a long description. And then I can click I agree, and I will ideally actually read the Frontly Marketplace terms. We have a few terms in there, just things like, it's, if you're adding a listing to the marketplace, we may be even promoting these to our users. We might send out an email blast, advertising it. We'll always use your name, the builder name. So we'll make sure that you get credit if we do promote it. But, there's a few things like that. And one thing that's important to understand too, just so that people don't just go wild and submit a bunch of stuff that, maybe they're not spending enough time on. We are going to be personally, like, manually vetting and approving all of the content that goes into the marketplace, at least to start with. Eventually we might have some more sophisticated systems or something like that, or maybe we'll we'll find a way to let some content go live in some sort of unverified chaos section, and let our users essentially install, and sort of Reddit style, right? I mean, I really do love the idea of the only actual sort of qualifier just being that the community likes the content. But to start with, while we're in this initial phase, just to make sure the quality is really high, and there's a few other kind of standards, like the screenshots for the pages, we have a certain format that we're going to need them in, and stuff like that. So long story short, spend your time. Don't just submit a bunch of low quality stuff to the marketplace to get your name out there. We will only approve stuff that we feel like is useful and unique. So if there's already something very, very similar to what you are submitting in the marketplace, we probably won't approve it, because we don't want it to confuse people. We don't want there to be just a bunch of copies of the same stuff. So, be creative. That's the whole point here, is there's infinite things you could build in Frontly, and we want to see them all. So, please come to us with your creative ideas. Um, once you have something that you're happy with, and I won't bother adding my image here, but you just click on that, add your image. You're going to hit submit for approval, and so you'll see that it's pending, waiting for review by the Frontly team. And so I'll wait for Justin here to go and sort of approve my listing on the back end, and he's going to do a thorough review of my content.
Yes. Oh, okay. Looks good. This is the vertical tabs
This is
one.
vertical tabs.
Okay. I will approve it. Good
I mean,
job,
and
Patrick.
really, probably shouldn't be approved because I didn't add an image, but we'll let it slide for right now. So I just don't want to bother going through that on this call. But if I go back to the marketplace, or I suppose if I go back to my listing, even you can see published. Woohoo! So there we go. It's in the marketplace, and now if I go back here, you can see unfortunately no image because I didn't add one, but I've got vertical tabs. And so if I go to a brand new app, let's say, let's see, February 19th seems like a good name. So I've got my cute little guy here telling me that I don't have any pages. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the marketplace and go to my vertical tabs, and I'm going to click install this page. Again, I just have to refresh it. By the time you guys are using this, that will not be the case. But, oh, right, it's barking at me because I haven't added any data sources. So just going to go add a friendly database called test, and it will stop barking at me. Cool. So here we go. I've installed it in my page, and if I go and actually preview it in the wild, then we should be able to see that I have this awesome page. So there we go. It's as simple as that. You can go and create any page you want. You can submit it, and once it's reviewed, we'll put it live, and then everybody else is going to be able to find it. They're going to be able to see your name right here in the marketplace. And I think eventually, well, yeah, we're just going to keep building it out. We'll add more. Right now, it's really kind of bare bones. You can search, and that's about it. But we're going to have we're going to have tags and categories and all those kinds of things. So um, now, we've been on here for half an hour, and we've definitely covered a few things here. So let me just check um, what's going on here. Someone suggested we could add a check by friendly team. Yeah, that's something that we're kind of thinking about. Like to start with, just to make sure that the next couple weeks goes really well. While we're sort of introducing people to the marketplace, we just want to make sure that we check the content. Like we'll actually check it and make sure that it works, stuff like that. And we might provide feedback. We will. There's a status that's called changes requested. So we won't necessarily outright reject something, and if we felt like it was close, then that's something there. There's a question about SEO. Yeah, so that is something. I think we might have to change just a little bit how the marketplace is set up, but I do think that that's right now it's not public, so that's the thing. Right now, the marketplace is only like accessed from within Frontly when you're logged in, but once it's live and we've got enough content in there, I think it's very realistic that we're gonna make it sort of like a publicly accessible page where you could actually send that a direct link to your profile or your listing to another. You could post it on LinkedIn, or you could send tweet about it or something like that. And that's definitely something we want, right? We want people to be able to go out there and say, hey, look, I'm a Friendly expert. I built this stuff. Go look at my profile. You can see all the things that I built, and even hire me if you want. So that's definitely a big um, that's definitely a big thing there. And um, oh, someone's asking about folders. Yeah, that's something that's probably overdue, is just the ability to organize pages into sort of groups or folders, however you want to put it. So yeah, that's definitely, a good point, and something that we're thinking about. We're right now we're kind of going through a phase of trying to build a few of these core features. Like we're always picking what we think is going to be the sort of most impact on the community. And so we understand, there are a lot of outstanding feature requests, probably hundreds, if not more, that we've collected over the last year or so. And, something like the marketplace is really, exponential value, because not only are you going to get tons of custom and interesting content now that is essentially like if we were going and building blocks, but um, but you'll be able to, but yeah, you'll also be able to get value from that yourself. And we are, I mean, I we're always working on the roadmap. There are a few kind of like high level things that we think are pretty important. I know, at some point we are still planning on creating some kind of payments integration with Stripe. So, people who are motivated enough have figured out ways to use Frontly and integrate payments, but we would love to make that easier. That's a big one. Um, what else, Justin? What are some other of our like sort of high priority things that people have been requesting? Oh, one of them that I know is kind of has been like a hot request is the ability like us having a select drop down that can automatically populate itself from a data source like in real time. So very much like how it works when you have a relational data field for Supabase or Frontly database, where the field, it's like an autocomplete field where it loads a little bit of data, but you can type and it can search. I think we'll basically just make that an option for maybe it's a new field type entirely. It's called autocomplete. That's something we've been thinking about. So that's kind of cool. Um,
I think what people have been chomping on the bit for a while, Patrick, is the just like being able to expand the custom modal action too, which will tie in really nicely with these. I think these pages that we can list in the marketplace if we can have a fully fleshed out custom modal system.
yeah, that's true. And I really think that, um, yeah, I think probably like because of the marketplace, I think we're going to be probably focusing a lot more of our energy on improving and streamlining the creation of things like custom blocks and styling settings and just kind of we're basically trying to give give the keys to the castle. And right now we understand there are some small limitations. To be honest, every time I go and try to build blocks and actions and stuff, I learn a lot because of course I'm spending most of my time coding the platform rather than using the platform. And so when I do that, I usually end up having ideas, finding things that we can improve. And so someone asked about the AI app creation function, which has been disabled. Yeah, that was sort of just put a little bit on the back burner because the marketplace ended up taking priority. But yeah, I think probably in the next like week or so, we've actually created a totally new, much more simplified AI app generator, and there are some other things that we could probably do, like add a standalone, data source generator. We already have that sort of block generator, which I'll be honest, I'm not even totally certain if it works or how well it works because I haven't tested it for months. But we've got a lot of little features, and we definitely need to spend some time cleaning them up. So next few months is going to be a lot of cleanup, a lot of small lifestyle improvements, and then really trying to support the growth of the marketplace by adding features that people need to keep building. Someone asked if this video can be accessed. Wait, can the video be accessed later in your YouTube calendar? For this, yeah, for the webinar. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think
uh,
we plan to upload either the full recording of this webinar or a shortened version of it at some point this week. I think that was the question. Is it just like
yeah. Well, we'll always try to upload our webinars and stuff like that. Someone was asking about the WebSockets. So yeah, right now, we have a WebSocket system but it's only used for the real-time webhook, where you trigger like a webhook outbound from Frontly, and then in real time you can get a response which triggers an action. So I actually think that hopefully sometime in the next, I want to say a couple weeks, but maybe not, just because it may not be the highest priority. But hopefully, in the next few months at least, we will be able to have a system that essentially just allows you to define actions in your page or in your app that would get triggered anytime your relevant endpoint is hit. And if you set that up will know to essentially make a WebSocket connection when your user loads the page. So it's pretty much exactly what's happening with the real-time webhook. It's just that right now there's no way to just be sitting there waiting constantly for, lots of different things to come in. We're essentially only waiting when you've triggered that sort of webhook action. So we've got the power, but we need to spend the time setting it up. Yeah. So one thing I also wanted to cover. Now this is this is a new feature that's also unreleased, and I'm just gonna hop on a little screen share here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let me start by saying, if you go to, this is a very bad example. Let me go into my app that has actual data sources. Um, so if you go to your data sources page, this is, really the core of your app, right? A lot of things are based on this. So if you go into one of your data sources, here's an example, is my Supabase data source. Now, I've taken this kind of far while testing Supabase, and I added almost every single different field type that Supabase offers to my table, just to test how Frontly can handle that. Because historically, one of the limitations of our Supabase integration was just that we didn't fully handle the field types correctly, and we still don't directly support every single one, but we're getting a lot closer. And so I guess one thing I want to say that's going to lead into this feature I'm going to showcase is, I recommend that everybody goes through their data sources and make sure that their field types are set. Because if you click on a field, if you haven't edited your data sources in a while, I don't know if you have even seen this. This is probably a few months old now, but there's this data type setting, which can be text or integer, which is a number, float, which is sort of like another kind of number, like a price essentially with decimals. Then there's date, of course, and you can define your date format. And then there's true false, which is also called a Boolean. And depending on the type that you select, you'll see that there's a default UI component as well. UI is user interface. So, as insignificant as it might seem, making sure that you have these set up correctly is critical to a smooth experience in Frontly, because our new feature, which I will show you in a second, takes this information and uses it a bit more intelligently when you're creating things like hidden filters and display conditions and stuff like that. And you'll see in a second here. But one thing we have set up for people, not 100% sure if it works for all the data sources. I'm pretty sure it works for at least Supabase, Google Sheets. Yeah, I think it works for Supabase and Google Sheets. And there's this refresh fields button up here, and then this auto detect types. So if you run this and hit refresh, what it's going to do is it's going to essentially scan the headers of your sheet, just the names of your columns, and we're going to automatically set the types based on, our system's best guess of what they are. If you have a lot and you just don't want to do it manually, you can do that. But I definitely recommend everybody going and doing that and making sure. Like, if you go to your data source and you just see every single one of these is set to the little T for text, I mean, that's fine if they are just plain text fields. But if they are a true or false field and they're not set to the true false type or Boolean, then you're missing out on some smart defaults that Frontly is able to apply, including even field validation. So, if you have, this is kind of recent, but if you set your field type to integer, then we will automatically apply the number validation in a form. And so you don't have to spend your time going throughout every form and field ensuring that that's set up, because you've set it up at the data source level. So without further ado, so let me go to, yeah, I'll just go to like a test table or something like that. So I've got this, strange data set with a bunch of pretty much just random words. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my filters section, and I can add either a visible filter or a hidden filter. And you may be familiar with these, but I'll just cover them quickly. So a visible filter is something that's going to show up um, like this. So you go and you select your field, and you can see here this is a visible filter. It's like a little, in this case, it's kind of a search bar, but it's just for filtering that one specific field, the name field that I selected. And now, when I'm setting up a filter or a display condition or anything that involves an operator, there's a totally new system for this. And this is not live yet. This will probably be going live either later today or tomorrow. But this is what we call the operator selector. So instead of just being a drop down with all of the options, we now have this system that will recommend, based on the field type, it will recommend the most likely operators. And it even gives you a little bit of a preview here saying, name does not contain X, name is the field that I selected. And if I go to other, I can see the other operators that are technically, um, could work, but are maybe not quite as common. And so if I go and I select a different type of field, for example, this integer field, we can see that the experience is very different. The recommended operators are greater than, less than, and equals. And in the other section, there are a few other that are relevant. But you'll notice that it's not showing all the operators, because when you've selected an integer, they're not all relevant. And we want to make sure that it's really easy and quick for you when you're setting these things up to understand that the field types matter, the data type matters. And we're even now actually showing in these column drop downs, we're actually showing the selected data type here as well. So trying to make things a little bit easier for you. And then if I go into hidden filters, so it's similar experience. The only difference is I still have to select a value. So, let's say I want to do something like price greater than 50 or something like that. That's great. That's all I have to do. And one thing that we have set up is, if you have an operator such as greater than that's only relevant for numerical fields, and then you go and select a different field type like text, you're going to see this invalid operator. And you're even going to see a message here that says the operator greater than is not compatible with the text type in blank, which it should actually say the name of it should say, I think, Google Sheets there. But I'm actually still building this feature. So that's why it's not released. But I just wanted to show you that, this is going to be going live in the next probably, day or two. And it's going to help you hopefully quite a lot when setting up filters and display conditions and all of that. So this is relevant anywhere that you're going to have this operator field. If I go to create a display condition for my page, because this isn't based on a data source, because it's not a block, you'll see quite a lot of options in here. But you can also search as well. So that's really nice. We're just helping you kind of narrow things down as much as possible. And so with that in mind, I just, again, I recommend everybody goes through their data sources and just make sure that there actually are types and defaults set. Because if you go create something like a table from scratch, if you've selected text and image upload for your image field, then we're going to make sure that it's automatically an image instead of you having to go manually do that. And then, oh yeah, this is one more thing. So we have this new option that's going to be going live, which is called is array slash comma separated. So one thing that we had an issue with historically is that some people, it's pretty rare, but some people will be storing values like tags or something like that, where the actual value in your field, let's say it's in a Google Sheet or something like that, is literally, you know, 1 comma 2 comma 3, or it's some IDs, or it's apple, banana, pear, pizza, whatever. It's any sort of list of, could be industries or tags of some kind. If that is the nature of your data in your data source, then selecting this is array slash comma separated is actually going to very much change what operators are available. And it's going to change how we process that data, because you've gone ahead and actually told us that your data source is, storing that kind of data. So if I go, I think it was in this one. So if I go back to, a hidden filter or something like that, then I think it was the name field. Maybe I did this. No, anyway, I honestly I've lost track. But um, you'll see that the array related or list related operators are going to be recommended to you, and they're very different. It's like, you can check if a value is within the list of those values and things like that. And right now, if you don't set it to an array, it's a very unclear process because our system doesn't really know. We might see the commas, we might not know what to do with them. So um, anyway, I mean, hopefully not too overwhelming, but we are, but yeah, we're pretty excited about these small things. The new operator selector is just one example of things that we're cleaning up to make your workflows a bit easier. We're just trying to every step that we can sort of automatically make little decisions for you and help limit the list of options, things like that. We're going to try to do that so that, your building process can just be focused on, getting those results as quickly as possible. Okay, well, you know what? We're at almost an hour here. So if anyone else has a couple more questions, then we'll try to work through those. So let's see here. Um, Thank you, Thomas. We appreciate that. We're excited to just keep building and improving and all this kind of stuff. Um,
We've got a couple of questions about a Stripe integration. Again, Patrick, I know it's a hot button question through Frontly from time to time. Would you like to maybe just provide another update on that, where we're at with that these days?
the Stripe integration.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen that. To be honest, I mean, maybe it's sort of the nature of not having a Stripe integration, but the vast majority of our users seem to be building either apps for their own business or apps for their clients, most of the time not really requiring payments. And so as much as we realize that if we were to build a Stripe integration, that might change and that people would start to, launch more like SaaS style products. We sort of just have to pick our battles because I'm sure that as soon as we launch a Stripe integration, there's going to be 5 other things that people are going to realize now that they're trying to build public facing apps and charge money. There's going to be all these other things. It's never ever as simple as launching one thing. And the Stripe integration on its own is quite a big thing. There's a lot of security implications and things like that. So I'm not saying we're not going to do it. It actually is a plan, and I'm hoping in the next couple months. But it's just we have to kind of get our ducks in a row, and there are a few higher priority things about that. Like even just the marketplace itself, we think that is going to, that's going to be more impactful to, like, the marketplace will impact pretty much everybody because even really experienced builders will probably go in there to just see what other people are building. And of course, the really experienced builders can go and distribute their content as well. Whereas brand new users will surely want to browse to just see what kinds of things, like we've got one question more than any other question ever, which is what can be done with Frontly, right? What kind of apps can you build? We're hoping the marketplace can sort of answer that once and for all by not only showcasing it, but also helping kind of rank it and prioritize it. It will also help us understand what people are trying to build, what industries and categories they're focusing on, and might give us more inspiration for features that we actually need to make a lot easier, right? If someone goes and builds some really really, really complicated, robust thing, but it's something that should ideally just be easy to build with Frontly in a few clicks. Might inspire us to create a new block. Something that is substantially easier. And so, there are some things like really subtle design changes, conditional logic, mobile responsiveness. That's pretty hard to build interfaces for to design in the no code app builder just because it gets really granular. And so sometimes, we might just say, hey, you know what? That's a really important thing. We understand that that's important, and we're going to build a new block or something to actually solve it instead of forcing people to kind of hack things together. because if somebody builds something really complicated and then someone inexperienced installs it, they are probably still going to struggle to sort of maintain it or kind of manage it with all these little features like display conditions and block versions and stuff like that. So anyway, that will be very fun to see how all that goes. Someone asked about app scripts. I'll be honest, I've never really used app scripts, so I can't really answer that question. Hopefully someone else in the community has maybe some experience. Anyway, we're kind of on our final minute here. Oh, we've got one more question here. Okay. Well, actually, there's a few more questions. So can Friendly handle functions and logic? We have a JavaScript action, which allows you to trigger the action, write a custom JavaScript function that returns some value. So it's pretty advanced, but it's pretty much the easiest way for us to allow people to actually do that kind of thing. Anyway, I think we have a few seconds left, so I'll just say thank you all so much. We really appreciate it. If anyone has any follow-up questions, maybe we can just start a thread in the Discord community to to go from there. So thank you all for your time. We will be making an announcement in the next few days when any of this marketplace stuff is live. So thank you so much, and have a great Wednesday.
Thanks, everyone.